Welcome to lecture 5, and we are doing Python for researchers. We are in module 1, that is Python from scratch. So in this lecture we are going to learn very important and very interesting thing in programming language, that is loops. So what are loops? Loops are basically used to execute a block of code a number of times. Let's suppose I want to print a number 300 times. Instead of writing the command 300 times, I can just use the loop. And not only the number of times, maybe there are some conditions, like as long as this condition is met, this block of code will run, and as soon as this condition is met, this block of code will stop running. So there are several conditions, and obviously we cannot just learn by our discussion, so we will do some example programs as well. So there are two kind of loops. First is the for loop and second is the while loop. So while loop, we in this lecture we will limit ourselves for loops. We will go over a lot of examples, how to use for loop in Python and then how to evaluate it. And then in the next lecture, lecture number 6, we will discuss the while loop. So first of all, for loop. So for loop is used to iterate, means repeat over a sequence, and sequence can be a list of fruits, list of people, list of students. Like I have a list of 30 students, and I want to write a paragraph or warning or just like a appreciation for each student. Each time I should change the name of the student and the rest of the things will be same. So for loop is best for that. And that can be a tuple as well. We will learn what are tuples in the next upcoming lectures. That can be string and range and so on. Range means range of numbers, just like 1 to 100, 1 to 1000 and so on. So what is the basic syntax of using the for loop? That is, you just write for and then the name of the item in the sequence. Now let's suppose, let's have an example. I have a list of let's say fruits. So fruits is equal to, in list we write in square brackets, I have apple, comma, banana, apple, banana, and then cherry, ABC, right? Now let's suppose I want to print each of these items one by one, not all together. If I want to print all them together, I will just write print fruits. So it will just print all of the fruits. So I want just print the first, then the second, then the third separately, or maybe that is for the requirement. That is the requirement of the program. So for and any variable, I can just write item. Let's suppose for item in fruits colon print, and then instead of any message I can just print item. So what this program will do, item is a variable that has been created just now in the for loop. In item name, in fruits, what are the items? We have apple, banana, cherry. So when this code is running, first time the value of item will be apple, and then second time it will be banana, and third time it will be cherry, and then each time it will print it. So let's see this: apple, banana, cherry. Now let's suppose instead of printing a list, I want to print numbers from, let's say, 1 to 15. So printing integers from 1 to 15. So for this, just a simple command for any variable like I, A, B, C, D, E in range. In the previous example, I wrote for item in fruits because fruit was already defined list. Here I will just write range. Range means just range of numbers, and in range of numbers there is a syntax that you first write the initial value, that is 1, and then you write the ending value. Here I need numbers till 15, so I will write 16 here because the basic syntax is that the last number is not included. So from 1 till 16, where 16 is not included, so obviously 15. And now I will print I. So print I means whatever the value of I is. So I is from 1 to 15. So this is how you print natural numbers. And maybe instead of natural numbers, I want square of natural numbers. So what I can do is I will just copy this cell. To copy the cell, you just press C, and to paste, you just press V. So now this cell has been copied, and for a square, we just write the asterisk twice and then 2. So now you can see it is writing the squares. So square of 1, square of 2, square of 3, square of 4. And also if you want to write number and then it's a square, so I comma I square. So it's printing 1 and then it's a square, 2 then it's a square, 3 then it's square, and so on, right? And we can do further examples as well, like we can just print the multiplication table, adding a new cell. So for I in range 1 to 10, no 11, because 10 will not be 11 will not be included. So for I in range 1 to 11, print, let's suppose I want a multiplication table of 7, so 7 comma, and then the multiply sign I can just write x, and then 1 2 3 4, so I will just write I, because I will be 1, then I will be 2, and I will be 3, and then comma, and then equal sign, and then comma, and then 7 times I. So now we have multiplication table of 7. If you want multiplication till, let's say 20, so just write 21 here, so you can get multiplication table till 20. And also, why not the user will decide that what kind of multiplication table the user needs, so we can just design that program as well. N is equal to integer input, enter a number. So user will enter a number, and then we will just use the same command for I in range 1 to 11, where 11 is not included. You just have to print n means the number that user has entered, and then the multiplication sign, and then 1 2 3 4, so that means I, because I will have 1 2 3 4 and so on, and then the equal sign, and then whatever the number the user entered, multiply that by I. That means first time by 1, then 2, by 3, then 4, and then so on. So enter a number, I write 4, so I'm getting multiplication table of 4. But if you want, let's suppose first 30 multiples, so I will write 31, and now I need multiplication table of 34, so it is giving me first 30 multiples of 34. So that's the beauty of programming. You just have to write very little number of codes, and then it will just start. What if we need to add, we need to find out the sum of natural numbers? We can also use that. Let's have an example of that. Let's suppose I want my user to input a number, and I will convert that into integer. So input and enter a positive number. So user will enter a number here, and then now what we will do, suppose the user is entering 5, so we will just add 1 2 3 4 5. If the user is entering 10, so from 10 till 0 we will add all the numbers. So what we can do is we can just take a variable that is, let's suppose y is equal to 0, that is sum, or you can just write sum is equal to 0, because initially if nothing is there, so sum is 0, and since sum is green, so that means it is a reserved word, so you cannot use that for the your program. So I can just write sum of n. So sum underscore n is 0, and now for I in range 0 till n, y is equal to, or sum underscore n is equal to sum underscore n plus I, means whatever the range is, because let's suppose if the user enter 4, so from 0 to 4, whatever the numbers are, it will add it, and then in the end print the sum is, and comma, and then sum underscore n. So let's try this. Let's suppose if I write 5, so 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, so 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is, we can add it manually here as well to check, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, and 10 plus 5 is 15, but we are getting 8. So yes, I made a mistake. The mistake was the basic syntax, that whatever you number right here, it means it does not include that number. So we can just write +1 here. Now let's try this 5. Yes, now we are getting it correct. Right, so this was all about for loop. There are a lot of more things that we will learn in future using the loops as well, and there are also after the while loop, you can see after the while loop there are a lot of mini projects like determine if the number is even or odd, that we have already done, and then calculating factor of a numbers and all that thing. Very interesting things. Means lecture number 7 is going to be very interesting, because whatever we have learned, we will just do little projects on that. And project number 10, I like it most. That is list of factors of a number. Just like if I write 60, then whatever the numbers from 1 to 60 are there, that are the factors of 60, that will be listed. And that is very important thing when we are doing it in mathematics. Okay, so that's it for this lecture. See you in next lecture.